Like there's a lot that's just been revealed. And there was a lot of things about like even, the conservatism Inc. online type people like Dave Rubin and Ben Shapiro and even Steven Crowder and like a lot of guys like this who really rose to prominence during the craziest woke years. They were kind of the figures who were speaking up against the insanity, like being like, no, actually, you're a dude in a dress. You're not a chick. And, that was necessary to some degree. It was pretty crazy what was going on in college campuses, right. And the whole left-wing wokeism stuff in general was crazy. But because that was the dynamic and because, for whatever reason, while tons of other right-wingers were being deplatformed, those were the ones who weren't, and in fact were very pushed by the YouTube algorithm and stuff. I mean, I remember for years, I always hated Ben Shapiro, and for years YouTube was like, I know you want to watch Ben Shapiro, and I was like, I do not. I've never told you that, YouTube, but YouTube kept insisting I did. I was aware.
You do. Yeah, you do.
Well, I was aware of this because, as I've been talking about lately, because I was a Ron Paul supporter back in the day. And I remember Ben Shapiro saying like that Ron Paul wants to strangle Jews and that he's a vicious anti-Semite. And I'd be like, whoa, like, and you realize you're like, oh, it was easy in those years for them to pretend like that wasn't actually all they cared about. But actually, that's all they care about. And I mean all they care about. And this has been revealed. This is the thing with the neocons. This is why even the original core neocon group, they were all a bunch of commies who then became Democrats, who then became Republicans, and then became Democrats again. And what they when they were George W. Bush Republicans, they were like, marriage is between a man and a woman, and our culture is getting out of because they just thought that was the best way to get votes for their wars. And then when Donald Trump ran against Hillary Clinton, they went, okay, she likes the wars. We'll go support Hillary Clinton.
Right.
Marriage,
exactly
gay marriage,
right.
Anyone who's against gay marriage is a homophobe or whatever. Like, but they don't actually. And so, look, just think about it, right? Why would someone like Ben Shapiro, at the very least, wouldn't he have liked a lot of things about Ron Paul? Oh, he's the most fiscal conservative guy. He's the strict constitutionalist. He's a devout Christian who, believes in traditional values. There's a million different things that you would go, oh, I like a lot of his thing. I do disagree with him on foreign policy. Nope. He's evil. As soon as you're not on board with Israel and Israel's wars, you're evil. And I think part of what happened here is that you, just by doing what you did, it demonstrated that not only, it's not like it went from like, Candace is great. She's been heroic on all these issues. We really disagree with her on this one. It went, all of that's gone. In one day, you go from being like our favorite person who we champion, who we put billboards up on, to you are the most vicious, evil human being in the world for saying, I just had some babies and I'm seeing this mom holding her dead babies. And I'm thinking to myself like, oh my God, what would it be like to hold your dead baby? Jeez, that's horrible. Like that's enough to make, and just people seeing that, like can't pretend they're not seeing what they're watching.
It's so true. That is how gentle it was. I had seen it was a dead Palestinian child, and she looked like my daughter. And I was going, well, this is crazy. Like, this is not just a black and white issue. I need to actually learn about this issue. And as soon as you express a feeling, I describe it very much. It is a psychological operation that is meant to break you. And there's no question in my mind that they have done experiments to see. I mean, this is really going back to what Kanye was saying, and he's not the greatest orator of our time, but this is what he was describing was happening to him in Hollywood, where he was this is what he was trying to break free from. And of course, he notoriously says, I'm about to go DEFCON 3 on some Jews. And they made it seem like he had tanks and he was going to come in and he was going to start just like lighting up Jews in Los Angeles. But in reality, everyone ignored the fact that Harley Pasternak was, and this was one of the people he was referring to. He was also referring to at that time Scooter Braun. Justin Bieber has now kind of said things about Scooter Braun. Who knows what's true and what's not? I mean, I've had friendly conversations with Scooter, so I don't have a horse in the race. But the point is he was trying to say that there is this psychological operation that sweeps in if you do not actually peddle certain talking points or certain perspectives, particularly in Hollywood. I didn't understand what he was saying at that time. Then I went through it politically and I was going, what is actually happening? I mean, the peer pressure, you're going to do this or you're going to lose everything. We saw that even in Charlie Kirk's text messages. There is not a single person that bent over more for the pro-Israel cause than Charlie Kirk, but it wasn't enough because they were so angry, Dave, particularly Josh Hammer was angry, Dave, that you annihilated him in a debate on stage. And how did you annihilate him? I don't know, just by being a human being. I don't know. Like, and Tucker Carlson gets out there, and Charlie was going through it. Okay. And that shows you they do not care. Everything instantly gets wiped. And for me, the attack they always do is they kind of try to make it seem like you're going crazy. That's the wildest part to me, is reading back the messages, and they're like, oh, like, you know, like we're your friend. They always come at you as a friend. Like, I care about you. Like, are you okay, Dave? I saw you wrote that tweet about, like, you know, that Palestinian child, and you said it looks sad. Like, are you okay? Like, is your marriage okay right now, Dave? Like, are there some things going on at home, Dave? Like, I'm your friend. Like, you know, you can always call me. This is their strategy behind the scenes. And it's also their strategy in front of the scenes. I think Seth Dillon is a literal demon. I will never, like, I can't explain to you, like, there's something very dangerous, like psychologically wrong with him. This is how they behave. And it's important for people to see that. I'm obviously, at the time, it wasn't fun to go through it, but I am ever resilient on topics when it comes to principles. And I would rather burn everything to the ground and make new friends when I realize that I am in a toxic relationship, whether that's an employment, whether it's a personal friendship, it has to go. And people now know that it can be done. You can survive it, and people will be with you. Even if it's not immediately, they'll start to wake up and see that repeated pattern that you always talk about, where someone says something completely normal, and then it's like a button gets pressed.
Yeah, and just all of that, you know, like, as when I was saying back to say 2017 or 2018 or something like that, the energy that Ben Shapiro or Jordan Peterson were able to kind of take hold of was that they were the ones saying, like, you guys are afraid to debate. You guys need to rely on censorship. You have to rely on demonizing your opponent rather than just addressing their ideas. Mm-hmm. And now they just can never say that again, because we saw what happened as soon as their ideas got questioned, and then they all turned into the exact same thing. And that's just, you know, the hypocrisy like that is very hard these days in this media environment, in this spiritual environment, whatever exactly it is. It's just very hard for people to keep their own lies from being exposed.
Right.
So I wanted to, obviously I want to talk a bunch about Charlie and because you've been doing a lot of shows on this. And so it seems to me, and a lot of shows that, shows that have been some of the most highest rated shows, part of the reason why you have the biggest podcast right now. I mean, I remember I was talking about this on the show a few weeks ago, but I was watching one of your shows, but I was like, I had it on my phone, and then I was kind of like wrangling kids also while I was doing it. So I'm watching the show, and it's live, and there was like over 300,000 viewers live. And then I paused it because I had to go do something with the kids. And then I came back, and like when I came back, the show wasn't live anymore. But it was still like I had it paused where I was in the stream, and I looked down, and it was only 15 minutes after the show had been live, and it was over 1 million views already on just on YouTube on it. I was just like, yo, there's so many people watching this right now. It's really unbelievable. And there's been something very interesting about the way you've been covering this. Well, I mean, look, it's a little uncomfortable to say, but like part of what's interesting and part of what's compelling about it is that you're Candace Owens, you're this pit bull who's got a hold of something, and everybody knows you're not letting go until you shake out everything that there is in there. Then you're also like a woman who's in deep grief, very clearly, over losing like a very close friend. And so it's just like, it's very, you know, real, and people can relate to it. It seems to me, and I kind of want to talk to you almost about like what you think the biggest things are that you've revealed so far, like where we are now if we try to put this all together. But it seems to me the things that the takeaway that I find the most interesting so far is that, and correct me if I'm getting any of the chronology of this wrong, but I think I got it pretty much right. So you basically come out in the wake of the biggest political assassination in modern American history, and a good friend of yours, and you go, look, here's the deal. Charlie was really at war with the Israel lobby and with all of the Zionist handlers around him. They were threatening him. They were pulling funds from him. He had basically gotten to the point where he was like, I don't support any of this anymore. And immediately that was met with accusations of she is out of her mind. She's lying. This is I believe Josh Hammer called it an anti-Semitic conspiracy theory. There was all types of that. Of course, Benjamin Netanyahu is selectively reading lines from Charlie's letter. Now, he doesn't mention that the rest of the letter, at least the rest of the letter that we've seen produced, is like the whole theme of it is like, this Hasbro bullshit is not working at all. We need to deal with I'm getting killed out here is the whole letter. He omits that and just reads the part where it's like, I sure do love Israel so much, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, all of them are saying the idea that there was a Jewish donors were pulling money or that he was in some more. Now, the thing that always at the very beginning made it very believable that you were saying this is that, well, number one, you're good friends with him. And number two, we all saw that Megyn Kelly interview. So like we all kind of know what's going on a little bit.
He was hosting you on stage. I mean, if you're like so committed to the pro-Israel cause, you stay away from Dave Smith, right? I mean, that's a pretty easy thing to not invite Dave Smith to do a debate on stage when you know he's going to win.